encounters in the wintertime. He attacked the British rear guard at Monmouth. He was actually a fighting general. Now, it's true he didn't win many battles, but the Americans generally didn't win many big battles.
During his campaign against the British, Washington was always outnumbered, typically outgunned, and always short on supplies, weapons, wagons, horses, and boats. Yet he repeatedly slipped the British noose, choosing strategic retreat over honorable defeat. He doggedly wore his enemy down. The British lost the war not so much because the Americans under Washington defeated them on the battlefield, but because General George Washington would not give up or go away. Washington was the unanimous choice of the delegates to preside over the Constitutional Convention of 1787. By choice and custom, as president of the Assembly, he rarely spoke during its sessions. Yet as the delegates debated the nature of a constitutional presidency, it was a foregone conclusion that Washington would be the natural choice to fill the office, whatever form it took. Since the best 18th century example of a stable government responsive to the people was the constitutional monarchy, there were those who thought Washington should become king of America. Others thought a new, titled American aristocracy should be created. Washington angrily opposed both notions. As the 55 delegates shaped their image of the presidency, they had before them, day after day, the image of George Washington on the dais, presiding over debate. Had anyone else been in that seat, the United States might well have had a cabinet government or a three-person executive appointed by the legislature. The choice of America's first electoral college was unanimous. Without seeking the position, George Washington, at age 57, had been chosen to lead his new nation as the first president of the United States. His journey north from his beloved Mount Vernon for the inauguration turned into a spontaneous, triumphal march for the whole nation. Ever aware of the need to add grace and dignity to the new government, Washington indulged in such pomp as he felt appropriate for a citizen hero. His critics suspected monarchical tendencies.
Washington was absolutely comfortable staying within the framework of the Anglo-American tradition of civil control of the military. Now, it is true there were some Americans, probably just a handful really, who felt that all the adulation that Washington received was unhealthy, that he might be tempted to exceed the bounds of propriety, to become a kind of Caesar, in other words. Washington, in one way, was like other famous revolutionaries, successful revolutionaries in modern history. Certainly different in that he had a healthy psyche. He didn't have a Narcissus complex. He was no threat to the revolution. Because he was no threat, our revolutionary leaders died in their beds, and that was one of the remarkable things about our revolution.
Such was the sensitivity to this monarchical issue that it provoked a raging debate in the first days of the first Congress. A full week was spent trying to decide how the chief executive of their new government would be addressed. Among the proposals were His Highness, His Excellence, a mouth-bending His Highness the President of the United States and Protector of the same, His Mightiness, His Most Benign Highness, and His Elective Highness. They finally decided to refer to him simply as the President of the United States. Familiar as we now all are with Washington's face on our stamps and money, another vigorous debate broke out in the legislature when it was proposed to place Washington's profile on the newly minted coins. To many, this smacked of Caesarism, dictatorship, and royalty. In his place, a symbolic female liberty was embossed on the metal coins. His face would not appear on the